Hey everybody, it's Vol here, and I just got back from a tournament in Wellington, New Zealand called Call to Arms. It's 2012, and this has been the biggest Warmachine Hordes tournament the country's really ever seen at 44 people. Not a very big country, and we certainly haven't ever had as a massive Warmachine scene as this. It's also the first event that the Colossals have been available, and the picture you're seeing now is a group photo we took of everybody that had a Colossal, and out of 44 players, 6 people took one. There were 4 Stormwolves from the Signar players and 2 Conquests. Now that bright red one you're seeing in the middle of the screen, that was my one. I indeed took my Khador to the event, and I had a Colossal in both of my 2 lists, and it was a 2-list tournament. Also an Escalation tournament, so it's 33 points for the first 4 games on the first day, then 42 for the second day, so you add 9 points with 7 reinforcements on any given day. Now, my decision to take Khador with the Colossal was for a few reasons. Number one, I've really been liking Vladimir. He's my favourite Warmachine caster of all time. I played Horse Vlad, the new Vlad that came out for a little while, and then dropped them in favour of one of the other Vlads. But I really just wanted to try the Colossal as a new toy. I, for some reason, had the idea that very few people would have the Colossals. I was wrong. Quite a few people did, 6 people in fact. But I've got to say a few things about the Colossals. I feel they're very balanced. Privateer Press have done a great job with the impact of the game and the diversity you can field with them and the richness they provide. And of course the balance with being able to kill them without having a Colossal yourself, that's all very good. I must also say that I felt like going into the event that had I just gone with, Beast 09, Black Ivan, or Behemoth, I would have had a better chance because they're just more efficient for their points. But taking a Colossal doesn't completely gimp you either. I just think it's probably a more efficient choice at a higher points level. Despite that, we'll see how well I did a little bit later. But yeah, Conquest, very cool, and I'm going to be talking about them a lot in the next 7 battle reports that I'll be doing here. Hope you guys enjoy all the stuff I'm about to comment on, and hope you're enjoying the Colossals yourselves. But let's go to the next photo where I can talk about my actual army. So next photo you see my Khador army. This is on display here, and in the background you can see some white miniatures in the top right, which were in my list, but they're not displayed there because they weren't painted by me. I had to borrow some extra stuff to field these lists. Now, if you open the YouTube video description, you'll see a list of what I actually took. There are some Kayazy assassins which are not pictured here because they were painted by another player, as well as some Widowmakers, but all the stuff in the foreground, the red stuff and the solos to the bottom left are of my own painting and creation. So let's have a look at them, and let's have a brief talk about the lists. I won't go into this in too much depth. If you want to read the summaries, check out the Privateer Press forums. We'll be posting some battle reports there in due time. But I'm playing Commandant Irusk, who is also known as P. Irusk, and Vladimir the Dark Champion, who's also known as Vlad 2 or E Vlad. I tried the Horse Vlad, New Vlad, for a while, didn't like him. I did like him, but I didn't think he was appropriate for the tournament, even though he supports the Colossal very well. Didn't support the list that I took very well. But the idea is that P. Irusk at the moment I feel is the top Khador caster, and he's certainly the one that is best with the Conquest, especially at the low points value, because to support the Conquest you need a spell that increases his movement speed and his mat. Superiority does that perfectly, and he gives the rest of the list that you're bulking out some really good options. And I felt with the assassins, they were the perfect unit to screen him and survive on the feet turn, even against, say, some blast damage, and just supported so well with the magical trio of Eiryss, Gorman, and Wyshnalyrr. More about that in writing, but we're just going to sort of gloss over that bit. Take the time to look through the lists as much as you like. The Epic Vlad list is more of an eyebrow raiser. It's more of a zany list, which I went with, that I felt I wasn't going to do so well with. But I had a grudge match first round against a Circle player because we had, a bit of a debate on the blogs about whether Circle was very good at low points. I said no, they weren't. He said yes, they were. So we decided to settle our differences in an actual game. But I designed a Vlad list to basically shut down any Circle list that would cause my Eiryss list problems. I knew that P. Kruger in particular would be problematic because his feet in the Chain Lightning would rip through the Kayazy, and then 2, feral Warp Wolves, or a Warp Wolf, a Stalker and a Feral with Primal would crush the Conquest. So what I decided to do was have the Ulans, which under the feet turn a threat 16, power 19 with the boost and Cyto boost, which could easily go and kill any heavy in their army that could threaten the Conquest, and then later the Conquest could cruise to victory. And that's the whole premise of the Vlad list I've come up with there. It's really awesome with transference and... yeah, I mean, just more about this in writing, but the idea with a Vlad list is to have a list that is not vulnerable against anti-infantry casters and lists, and also to have a way of killing heavies in their list that would threaten the Conquest and allow him to cruise to victory. But yeah, I felt like, again, sort of giving myself vulnerability, having the Conquest in both lists, but I really just wanted to play him. I just had my heart set on stamping out there with the Conquest. Next photo, you can see a close-up on Eiryss and Vlad. My paint scheme for this army, very, very lazy and simplistic, very Sin City sort of look, where it's very much about the contrast. The whole army is sprayed with a red primer and just a few highlights and black non-metallics on it. But I'm happy with the way it looks, and I really love Vlad as a model. Vlad's my favourite Warmachine caster of all time, and I just had to take him. Next image, Wyshnalyrr to the left with a bit of a purplish wash colour scheme. Eiryss, that miniature is actually not from Privateer Press. It's an amazing model from the Mike McVeigh Studios, which is posed exactly the same way as Epic Eiryss, so I knew that I just had to have that model as Eiryss. The only thing I'd warn you guys about if you're planning on getting one yourself is that that antenna is made out of resin and it will snap if you even breathe on it, so take very, very good care about how you store it. And of course Gorman, we all know how powerful Gorman is against other Colossals and against, you know, any army in general. Next image, here he is himself in the flesh. You know, not the most exciting paint job. He actually, when he had the red primer on, he looked just like a big piece of Lego, like a big Lego robot or a fire engine or something. But yeah, it turned out okay. I mean, as long as you paint all the rivets, you can see some detail on it from a distance. And yeah, I'm happy with how the non-metallics turned out in the guns. Right, next photo, just more of a close-up. Just picked up some of the Gale Force 9 barbed wire to put on the base and went down to the local hardware store and bought some bits of metal that I don't know what those things are used for, but I just PVA'd them onto the base. Worked out alright. I feel like the Colossal could do with some more weathering or something, but I might get a friend to help me with that instead. Next photo, some borrowed miniatures. These don't actually belong to me. They weren't actually painted by me either. I touched them up a bit with the highlights and the white, but Velachev and Iona and Holt I felt were quite cool because they give the Colossal magical attacks, which you really need sometimes, and puts harm on an enemy Jack for the Ulans going in there and making absolutely sure they kill it. The other fun thing to do was just Zephyr them up, move them up, Kiss of Lilith from about 19-inch threat onto their Colossal, then charge it with 4 Ulans under the feet, or islands, however you say it, and do serious damage. Next image, let's just have a browse through some of the other armies that were on display during the event. Signar with the Stormwall, looks like he's running P-Striker with it, which is actually quite cool. I actually think P-Striker is quite a cool caster for the Stormwall because of Snipe and the feet, Arcane Shield, all of that. It's actually very effective. Next image, Kador, didn't have a Colossal in this one, but the battle engine's there, and Epic Butcher, always nice to see the Epic Butcher there. Next image, this is a really interesting army because it's got 2 Wraith engines, which you don't see very often, but the conversions on the Wraith engines are absolutely fantastic. So the one on the right you can see has actually killed a troll, and he's just done some sort of conversion or sculpting effect to see the soul being removed from the dead troll. Let's take a close-up of this one on the next photo. Unfortunately, the focus isn't very good on this actual image, but you can sort of see the idea here of the Wraith engine just sucking the soul out of the victim of the troll there on the ground, which is just incredible. Next image, another Kador army with Fenris in it this time. Pretty good paint job actually. Really impressed with the highlighting effect on some of these models. Looks very good. Next image, another Signar army with the Colossal. A lot of people complain about this one because it's with Epic Haley. Not much fun to play against. Luckily I avoided this guy, but E. Haley and the Colossal is just a bit much sometimes. Just the way that you can bond it and give it the extra movement and really make it a pain to deal with. Next image, yet another Colossal. This guy was the one other person who took a Colossal on both lists. He was playing Epic Kane, and his other caster was the new Nemo, Threemo, as some people call him, and this guy didn't do that well, but I reckon Threemo is actually really cool, and very nice job painting this particular colossal. Looks great. Next image, Chris, one of the Chris's playing Retribution with Raven and Kayazy, and he's getting really good with his Ret, and the paint job's looking really good as well. Next image, this is Daniel Conlon with his Scorn. This guy wins a lot of Best Painted prizes, and his new Tiberian's just looking absolutely fantastic, so I really always enjoy to see what this guy's painted next. Next photo shows you a bit more of a close-up, and Tiberian just looking really buff there, and it's an amazing model, and man, that club looks really, really punishing. Next image, another Signar army with the battle engine, but not the colossal. I see Catherine Lattimore in there, not a very popular choice. I think she's really cool, but I wouldn't really play her that myself, because I think she's too many points for what she does. Next image, another epic Vlad army actually. Didn't have a colossal, but he did take the 5 Ulans, and always really cool to see, you know, my favourite caster in the field. He's gone with Epic Elixir, which is a bit of a weird choice because she won't benefit from his feat, or transference for that matter, and yeah, I don't think he can buff her at all, so just a bit weird to see her there. I wasn't quite sure why she'd shown up in the list. Next image, another Crix player with quite a lot of jacks here, and the Wraith Engine. So Wraith Engine, very popular this tournament. A lot of people just felt like, you know, not enough people were taking them, so it's the hyper knee-jerk reaction with everybody suddenly showing up with that one model nobody takes, and you know, suddenly there's a swarm of them. Next image, very new Menoth player on the block, actually doing pretty well. I saw his lists were quite nice. He actually played Thyra, which you don't see that often. So kudos to him for taking him, or her rather. Next army, not that well painted, but good to see Legion there with the Warmongers. Warmongers actually, just the Hellbird Blighted Trolls, and he's got a battle engine throne there, unfortunately not completely assembled, and Epic Thegrosh as well. Next image, looks like we've got the Thralls army with Terminus. Terminus, really fun cast to look at, and this guy's got his wings converted out there to look magnificent, so great job on the model. Next image, this is Mike with his Menoth army, and Mike's actually faced me in some battle reports before. You guys might remember Chromac versus Epic Denny, and Chromac versus Scar, and Epic Butcher versus Epic Denegro. If you remember those battle reports, that was this guy. He's now switched to Menoth. And he's only got one list this event. He hasn't chosen to take the 2 lists that you're allowed to, and he's gone with Epic Fiora, but quite a compact, deadly Epic Fiora list based on the ranged fire attacks. Next image, Matt Hassel, that I've played a few times before with his very nicely painted Circle Orbros. He's actually playing quite a lot at the moment and getting very good with Circle. Nice to see the Null there. I don't particularly like the Null with most Circle casters, particularly P. Kruger, but really nice to see him there. Next image, this is John with his Circle, and he's got Epic Belder with the Skinwalkers, which I thought was a cool choice. I wouldn't make that choice myself, but he's gone for it, and kudos for him for trying it out. And yeah, Epic Belder, a lot of respect. I love his conversion there with Megalith, actually making the P. Belder levitate out of the ground as if to heal him, which is a really awesome touch there. Next image just shows you his other list, which was the Epic Kruger tier list with all the Farn Ravagers and the Lord of the Feast, which he has played before at tournaments and done reasonably well with. Massive props for him trying zany stuff like this. I would never do it, but he's just gone balls to the wall and pulled out all the stops, and great to see that sort of Circle stuff on the field. Next image, this is a Mercs list, but you can also see Connie there with the what should we call it, Knights, Precursor Knights. Connie being one of my favourite casters, so always love to see her there. Actually, no, sorry, I tell a lie. It was the other guy playing Connie. This is actually somebody who was playing Damiano and P. Magnus, so got that completely wrong. My apologies. Let's go to the next photo. This is a series of photos of Chris's army. Chris is who I regard as the best painter of Warmachine in the country, and his paint jobs are just magnificent. Possibly better than the actual painters that Privateer Press have got themselves, dare I say so. You've got the limited edition P. Eiryss in the left, badly focused on, but the focus has come into sharpness there for the Phoenix in the background. Fantastic weathering effects. Next photo shows you a bit of a zoom out of his army. You can see the detail from a distance. Really super smooth and clean blending. Next image, his two casters, Kalissa and Raven. They're on wonderful scenic bases, and I love the leafy effects on the bases as well. And next image, you can see his halberdiers with wonderful, wonderful shield markings, and just done to such a high finish standard. Next image, this is Dave's new army here. Dave's a relatively new Warmachine player, but he's doing very well. He's been posting very, very fanatically on the blog that we all look at. The only thing about Dave's lists is that he's very eager to succeed. He's sort of a bit worried about getting smashed at tournaments, but as a result, he's been playing very well, and he's using very generic, very boring sort of lists, and he's playing Epic Scar and Epic Denegra, which, in my opinion, are two of the top 5 arguably most easy to win with casters in the whole system. So it would be nice to see him try something a bit zanier, a bit more creative next time, but he's sticking to what he knows in order to ensure success, and you know, I really have to respect that. I do the same thing a lot of the time myself, and he's managed to finish his army to a high standard, so kudos to him for doing that. Next image, Josh with his Kador, and Josh actually lent me his Kayazy Assassin, so they will be in the same colour scheme as these guys. But Josh hasn't been doing very well with his Kayazy, so while he's been playing the Old Witch that you're looking at here, he's been trying out the Black Dragon Pikeman, which he's really been liking. I played a couple of practice games against them, and with the Iron Flesh, they're not that bad, with very high defense and high armor, so they're not vulnerable against the blast damage and chain lightnings. And his behemoth is actually built from various different parts. It's not an actual behemoth model. He's just done a massive conversion work on it, so it's looking really cool. Next image, Casey and his minions, who I face very often but didn't actually face this tournament. He's got his 2 brand new Roadhogs, so he's looking for success with those in his Carver list. Next image, Trolls player with a nice autumn-themed colour scheme. I really like that scheme quite a lot. Next image, Legion with Callus, I believe, was his main caster here, and Seirin, so dangerous stuff. This guy started out low in the tables with his Legion, but is steadily becoming better and better and better, and actually picked up best Legion, best within faction of Legion this event. Next image, matey, it's Shay and his pirates, and this is Scott, and he's probably our country's best Mercs player, who's a full-time Mercs player. His other list is Durgan, not actually pictured here, but he was really cool for taking the pirates. Actually spent a lot of the tournament time wearing a pirate hat, which I have full respect for, mad respect for anything to do with pirates, and actually getting the tier list onto the field is incredible. Next image, another Trolls army that looks very good, and the striking War Wagon colour contrast with the rest of the list, which is nice sort of dull colours but very rich and deep when you look into them, was a very nice contrast indeed. And next image, what we've got here looks like a mercenary list. Love to see Brother Lug out there. Love those guys, especially the battle armour on the bear. Very imposing. Next one, this is Daryl's Cricks. He had a lot of matches. That's P-Scar in the background there, so as you can imagine, tons and tons of infantry as you expect with that caster. And that's it, guys. So hope you enjoyed the introduction. Again, read through the army list that I've posted in my video description. There will be some written reports of the event on the Privateer Press forums, but coming up next will be round 1 of my first game against John and his Circle, which we'd pre-arranged before this tournament starts. It wasn't a random draw. It's a grudge match, so see you guys then.